Hey man, so if you live in LA and you're looking for a place to ride your motorcycle within the city and not have to drive like an hour out to hit some tasty canyon roads, there are some places in the city of LA that are fun to ride. So just this past weekend, I went to Elysian Park, which is right around Dodger Stadium, right in the heart of downtown, well, north of downtown LA. Here is my ride. So first, I went to Dutch Brothers Coffee because I heard they just opened their first location in LA right by USC. And this was the second day that they were open, so there's still a lot of fanfare. And it was pretty busy. And it's right at the base of this apartment building. So the noise must be something if you live upstairs. Anyways, any new coffee place that's somewhat nice, I try to test it out by getting a cappuccino, which is what I got. It's okay. It's like a Starbucks type place. Uh, oh yeah, about Dutch Brothers, they don't have regular drip coffee. So if you want a drip coffee, you have to get an Americano. So I just got cappuccino. Anyways, from there, that is on Figueroa Street. You make a right on 37th and then a left on Hope. That'll take you right onto the 110 North. So on the way to Elysian Park, I am going to go to Grand Avenue, specifically Lower Grand Avenue, which is where there's a lot of films that shot scenes down there because it's a very kind of unique place in Los Angeles. So I'm taking 110 North from USC area. I'm gonna pass the 10 interchange. So I've sped this up here just because it's just freeway miles, and so I slow it down so you can see the 60 interchange is coming up as well as the 10, which is in the 5, which if you wanted to take that, you already missed it. So here we are going towards downtown. You'll see the Skyline there on the right. I'm gonna get off on 4th Street, and to do that you have to stick to the 2 right lanes, and you'll see signs, and I'll slow it down here too. So I'm getting over to the right. You'll see the signs right there, 4th Street, and you want to get in those 2 right lanes because it'll split. There'll be a divider here, as you can see right there, and you want to stay on these 2 lanes. First will come the 6th Street exit, which is right there or here coming up, and then if you stay in that middle lane, it becomes the right lane after the 6th Street exit, and then the 4th Street will come up. This is a little bit of a sharp turn, so you want to take it easy here. Make sure you're going the right speed, and then it'll take you on to 4th Street, and you want to immediately get into the right lane. Now you can go straight and make a left into Lower Grand, but I'm taking this a little more scenic route just because it works out for my route here. So later I'm going to take 2nd Street Tunnel. So here I'm going up now on 4th, and then making a left on Hope. I think this is Hope. And I'm going to pass through here to make a right on a street called Kachuski. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's called General Kosciuszki, I think, named after this general, I guess. And here it is right here. It's on the right. So it's interesting because you're going under a building, basically. And here we are. This is on to Lower Grand. And this is still the General Kosciuszki Street. Now here at this light, this perpendicular street is Lower Grand. So it's called Lower Grand because right above it is the actual Grand Avenue, which has like some of the museums like Disney Concert Hall and Museum of Modern Art and things like that. So I'm just playing at normal speed here so you can kind of see. It's kind of a strange area. It gives a strange vibe because it's all just loading docks and parking lot entrances, and it's kind of dingy. And if you see the movies that have this area in it, it's the scene evokes kind of a dark, maybe not necessarily dark, but just kind of a weird vibe. So there's what I can recall, Repo Man was shot here. I really like that movie a lot. It's really funny. And Terminator was shot here. So I turned around to go to the other end because that's where there's a scene where in Terminator, the first Terminator, Kyle Reese meets up with Sarah Connor. They escape in a car. They're being chased by the Terminator in a LA squad car. And they come over here. They're being chased also by the police. They come down this road, which is a dead end. And somehow they veer off to the side, and the Terminator goes straight and crashes into that wall straight ahead. It comes to a stop. And then the police immediately descend upon them. And then, Kyle and Sarah surrender. And when they look to see where the Terminator is, he's gone. So that was that dead end right there where the Terminator, one of the scenes in the Terminator was shot. And actually, one of the final climax scenes was shot above on Upper Grand Avenue. The final scene where just before they enter the factory and Sarah Connor terminates the Terminator, that big rig, the Terminator gets in the big rig and then crashes it, becomes a fireball, and then that fireball burns off all his skin. That's up on Upper Grand, which is right above this area where I'm riding right now. Now, if you ride a motorcycle, you're probably familiar with the problem we have when we come to stoplights. We don't have enough mass or maybe magnetic properties, so we don't trigger the sensors to change the light. So here, I was waiting for a few minutes, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to do what's safe. And what I heard is safe is you can proceed when there's no traffic coming. Like if the light will not turn from red, you can go when it's safe. So that's what I did right there. So I hope that I don't get a ticket from somebody watching this that I ran the red light. Anyways, I'm continuing down 4th now. I'm making a left here on Broadway, which is another pretty well-known street for filming locations. Coming up, I slowed it down because on the left is Angel's Flight, that, I forget what you call that contraption that moves up and down. And on the right is Grand Central Market, which is kind of a foodie haven. They've got some, shishi coffee and food eateries in there. Now I'm headed towards 2nd Street so I can go under the 2nd Street tunnel, which is right here. So here's 2nd Street tunnel. I'll slow it down so you can enjoy all the graffiti. I think it was some time ago they cleaned this all up, and then what do you know, of course, immediately tagged again. So what's interesting about this tunnel is it used to be very ornate, at least at the entrance that I'm headed towards, which is on Figueroa Street. There used to be all this kind of cladding at this entrance. You see the entrance widened up. There used to be some kind of, cladding that made it look a little fancier, but that's all been removed. Now I made a right on Figueroa Street. I'm heading north and east. And if you continue through here, you'll get to Chinatown, or the original Chinatown. And it's a pretty interesting drive. It's like this is the old historic part of LA. I think Figueroa Street led to, obviously the residential areas. So back in the day when people, worked in downtown, they lived out here somewhere. They would take Figueroa Street as well as others to get to downtown. So here I made a left on Sunset Boulevard. So this is kind of going towards the Echo Park area. And I'm going to make a right on Vin Scully Drive. So Vin Scully is famous sports commentator. I think he did mostly baseball and Dodger baseball games. I believe he's passed. Anyways, there's a street named after him. And so I'm going to make a right here. I almost missed it. So I made a right here, and this is Vin Scully Drive. This will take you straight to, I believe it's the main entrance to Dodger Stadium. Now some of these turns I almost missed because I'm going off memory. I had it all plotted out and on Google Maps, which I have on my navigation screen, but for some reason it wouldn't register the directions I had. Plus, the stop on Grand Avenue was kind of a last minute detour on the way to Dodger Stadium and Elysian Park. So right now I'm going on Stadium Way, and to my right was Dodger Stadium, and then now I'm entering Elysian Park, which kind of surrounds Dodger Stadium to the west, north, and east of Dodger Stadium. So here we are in the Elysian Park. There's one part of Elysian Park, if you go there on Saturdays in the mornings, there will be like a lowrider bicycle meet. Okay, so I just made like a detour because Academy Road gets kind of split. So you have to make a right on this short street, well, a short right and then an immediate left, and then you're back on Academy Road, which is what I'm on now. And then I'm gonna make a right on Angels Way. I think it's called Angels Way. So I'm following this yellow Parks and Rec truck. Now we're on Angels Way, and this is where all the twisty fun roads begin. And so this is in the park, and whenever you're riding your motorcycle, I'm sure you obey all the traffic laws and the speed limits. And so especially so when you're residential areas and in a park like this, because there's people walking around, pushing their strollers, walking their dogs. You don't want to go crazy here, try to strafe apexes and scrub your chicken strips off. You don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that on the street, period. The track is the only place really to do that kind of thing, right? So, and I'm like older now, so those days are beyond me. I'm just taking it easy now, and I don't mind being behind this truck because this is my first time on this road, actually. I've been meaning to come here for years, and I finally did it. That Dutch Brothers opening was the catalyst for me to finally go into this park, first check out Dutch Brothers, and then ride up here to this area. And I platted this course to detour through Lower Grand and then come up to Dodger Stadium, take this Angels Way. And it's a really interesting area. There's like a Little League diamond, baseball diamond. There's also the LAPD Police Academy here. And I believe the movie Police Academy was probably shot around this area. Anyways, here it is, driving around Angels Way. You get a great view because this goes on top of the hill. So I will stop at this one place called Point View, which gives a pretty good view of downtown and south and southeastern parts of LA. So just continuing riding along here. This is a straight stretch, but there are lots of twisty turns here, as you will see. Oh yeah, and because my navigation wasn't on, because I arrived at Dodger Stadium, it turned off the route, so I couldn't see the course I had plotted. So I missed a turn, which will be coming up. But anyways, here is the baseball diamond on the right. You can kind of see it through the fence there. And there's a parking lot up there, and then parking lot down there. If you ever got into UFO sightings, they had one sighting, I guess, session here. You can see the baseball diamond here. There's like a defunct helicopter landing pad, and that's where they had it. There was a guy named Robert, I think his last name starts with a B, I can't remember, but he would hold these kind of UFO summoning events, and they had one here. I went to it. I don't think I saw anything, I don't remember, but in any case, that was the last time I was up in this area, was for that event. So here we are going along Angels Way. I believe it's called Angels Way, and we're gonna come up to, it's kind of a sharp left to Grand View. The road is called Grand View. And the thing is, there's no street signs here, so you can't really see where the streets are. So taking navigation is gonna be the best, having the Google Maps on so that you can see your route. So when I missed the turn, I went for a long time and then had to double back. So I cut that all out. So in the interest of time and not boring you to death with just continuous, motorcycle driving along this road. Although this is maybe not so bad as droning along on the freeway. Here it is, right there on the left. Okay, so I cut it. So now I made that left. Now I'm on Grandview Drive, I believe it's called. So here there's some more twisty roads. And again, you want to take it easy. This is Sunday morning, so maybe there's more people walking than, say, on a Monday afternoon or, other times. So just keep in mind that there's people walking around, people pushing strollers and walking their dogs and such, so you don't want to go too crazy here. Just a nice Sunday drive, which is what I'm doing right now. So this road will take you to Point View, which is like an overlook. There's some parking spaces there, and you can stop and just take in the view. So I'm approaching it now. There are these speed humps here to force you to slow down, because you can either make a right so you can continue driving, or you can go straight and you can see there's a parking space, well, places to park. And so I'm going to park here, take a quick glance around. And one thing you might notice is there's a lot of graffiti. Anytime you see graffiti on the trees and on the curbs, it's probably a sign that, oh yeah, and if you see wrappers for, like, I think it's not quite a blunt, but something to roll your doobie in, it's probably a sign that probably shouldn't come here when it gets dark. So you can see all the graffiti there. Anyways, it's a hazy day, so you can't really see. The view is not that great, but there's downtown there in the distance. There's a reservoir kind of right in the foreground. It's empty. And if you look that way, it's looking south. There's the LA River, and then all points south central and southeast LA. So on a clear day, I'm sure the view is much better. Alright, so I'm going to get back on my bike and continue down Grandview Drive. And this will be the last section of the Elysian Park roads in Elysian Park. I forgot to turn my ignition off. I stopped the motor, but the accessory power was still on, so that would not have been good if I was there for much longer. Could have drained the battery and been stranded there. Alright, so I'm continuing now. I'm going, I think, towards the west and south. And yeah, it's just a nice, peaceful Sunday drive. It's not too crazy. Maybe on some days it might be a lot busier. Right now it's about 10 o'clock, I'd say. 10:30, so definitely the morning is a good time to go on a Sunday if you want light traffic like this. And now we're going to get into some fun twisty roads. So see here, some people walking their dog, some bicyclists. And a few weeks ago it rained, so anytime it rains, especially on these like canyon roads, or this is a park, but it's got that embankment on the side, so you're gonna have like runoff of dirt and sand, rocks, so you gotta be careful. You don't want to be going in too hot and suddenly have to face big chunks of rocks or sand on the road that might trigger a survival reaction, and then make you do something that will upset the bike, maybe lose control and cause a low side, or just run off the road and crash somewhere. So as you can see here, there's a lot of dirt sand, silt that has washed onto the road, especially the edge. And I guess in the morning, another thing you should be careful is these shady areas. They could be cooler and they could be still damp, so it could be a little slippery. Speeds I'm going at is not an issue, but if you're trying to cook your tires, you know, there's a possibility it could slip. So see here, it's more people walking. And we're getting towards the end of Grand View. And then I think this road here is Park View. I'm gonna make a left here. Now I'm doing this from memory, so I could be totally wrong with all these names. I'm going to have a link to this exact route on Google Maps that you can, once you click it, it'll open up in Google Maps. It'll have the exact route here planned out. So you can, I guess, email it to yourself, open it on your phone. If you have Google Maps installed, it'll open up Google Maps with this route. So you can just follow it directly from Dutch Brothers to Elysian Park and all the way around. And then this will end on Broadway. And then from Broadway, you can hop on the 110, which can take you to the 101 North, or just go further down into Chinatown, and then hit the other freeways or wherever you want to go. So we're getting towards the end, going downhill. And this area is kind of interesting because, as you probably saw, there are some houses up there. So you can kind of live in this park area. I don't know exactly what the situation is with those houses, but I'm sure they're just regular single-family homes that you can buy or rent if they're for sale or if they're available. So here I'm coming down to, I forget the name of this road. I think it's like Elysian something. Elysian, which is a pretty interesting name. It's from the Greek, and it has to do with some kind of like heaven or something, you know, paradisical or something like that. In any case, back in, I guess, early 1900s, when this area was developed, being on the hill, they thought, yeah, this is a great area. You get a great view of the city. Let's call it Elysian Park. So it's interesting how they came up with these names for different areas of Los Angeles. So here I'm on Broadway, and this will take you right into Chinatown and then into downtown. I'm going to hop on the 110, which I almost missed also, and then get onto the 101 so I could head to Mulholland Drive, which will be the next video. Mulholland Drive from end to end, another great road that you can take in the city of LA. Depending on where you live, of course, that's not an hour out to hit some fun, kind of curvy roads. All right, well, I hope this was helpful so that you can also enjoy some tasty roads in Los Angeles on your motorcycle.